Have you ever been searching condos in West Vancouver and seen two units in a similar location, similar size, and even similar condition, yet one is selling for half the price of the other? Most people assume there must be something wrong with it. Usually there isn't. The difference often comes down to two words: leasehold versus freehold. I'm Debbie Evans, and this is one of the most common questions I get asked at open houses around Park Royal and West Vancouver. When you buy a freehold strata property, you own your unit and you own a proportional share of the land beneath the building along with the other owners. There is no expiry date on the land ownership. That's what most people think of when they think about buying a condo. Leasehold is different. You still own the condo unit itself, but the land underneath the building is owned by someone else. The building operates under a long-term ground lease. That lease affects the property's value, financing options, monthly carrying costs, and future resale potential. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear involves West Royal at Park Royal. Buyers often ask me if it's on First Nations land. The answer is no. West Royal sits on municipal leasehold land owned by the District of West Vancouver. The confusion comes from the fact that Park Royal South is located on Squamish Nation land immediately next door. They're adjacent to each other, but they operate under completely different ownership structures. And this is important because not all leaseholds are created equal. Municipal leaseholds, First Nations leaseholds, university leaseholds, and privately owned leaseholds all function differently. They have different lending requirements, different renewal considerations, and different risk profiles. The first question any buyer should ask is not how many years remain on the lease. The first question should be, who owns the land? Now let's talk about value. Leasehold properties often trade at a significant discount compared to comparable freehold properties nearby. That discount can represent hundreds of thousands of dollars in purchase price. For some buyers, that's what makes West Vancouver ownership possible. But you also need to understand the monthly carrying costs. Leasehold buildings typically have higher strata fees because the cost of the ground lease is built into the operating expenses. Look only at the purchase price without considering the monthly costs can create a misleading comparison. Financing is another factor. Most major lenders will finance leasehold properties when sufficient lease term remains. However, lender policies vary. Some lenders are more restrictive than others, which is why financing should always be confirmed before writing an offer. Resale is also different. The buyer pool tends to be a smaller because some purchasers simply prefer freehold ownership. As the lease term gets shorter over time, financing and resale become more challenging. That's why understanding your personal timeline is so important before making a decision. So why do people still buy leasehold properties? Because sometimes the value proposition is exceptional. West Royal offers a location that many buyers love. Your steps to Park Royal shopping, restaurants, services, Whole Foods, and transit. You're minutes from downtown Vancouver, Ambleside, and the seawall. Many of the suites are larger than new condo developments, and some have spectacular views of the ocean. Lionsgate Bridge, Stanley Park, and downtown Vancouver. For the right buyer, the question isn't simply leasehold versus freehold. The real question is whether the location, lifestyle, floor plan, amenities, and purchase price create better overall value than more extensive freehold alternative. Leasehold isn't a secret, and it isn't a trap. It's simply a different form of ownership that requires a clear understanding of the advantages, limitations, costs, and long-term implications. The buyers who do best are the ones who fully understand what they're purchasing before they make a decision. If you'd like a deeper explanation of leasehold versus freehold ownership, including how it affects financing, resale value, and long-term planning, I've written a full article on westvanliving.ca. I'm Debbie Evans, realtor with eXp Realty. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe to keep updated on the real estate